Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with my first ration review of 2023. And since sometimes certain foods can be associated with a celebratory event, sometimes it's pizza. And this is one of the new additions to the US MRE lineup. This is the cheese pizza. There's Infos in the house. I hope you had a good nap before coming in here, since it is 3 a.m. your time. But this is in addition to the pepperoni pizza, and I am guessing that there's a lot of feedback for having a cheese pizza. Sorry, I gotta silence something. There, thought I silenced another device, but I guess anyway, I got the noises shut off on that one. But so the pepperoni pizza would not be eaten by Jews or Muslims or others who, for whatever reason, do not eat pork. So I have had a cheese pizza done in a ration put together by allmres.com. Of course, when they packed it, they put a pepperoni pizza slice in with the one cheese pizza slice. So that was the first time I had it. But now it's in a standard US MRE, and I have a pan heating up in my stove because that's how I'm going to do it. So I put it on kind of medium so it won't get too hot too fast, because I don't have any fat or oil or something. But I will actually take you into the kitchen. So that's why I just have it on low for now. But I have a second slice because it came in another box. So Sterling Foods does these cheese pizzas. Well, that one was a fail. I still managed to get a hole in it so I can get my finger in it. I'll just rip that whole bit off. So anyway, let's see what comes in the bag. So we've got two cards. This one is a new color for these cards. I don't know if they ran out of this color of cardstock, or this is new, or this is just an error. But this is nutritional info for the Zapple sauce, which usually has the stuff on its own label. And this, look at this, no ingredients, no nutrition info for the pizza slice, just this other stuff that is usually on the back of the sleeve. So that is kind of odd. I know when CT did one of these, he had a few errors in his bag. It's got standard crackers. Got the FRH, which I'm not going to use. So this is the applesauce. It may be a little thicker than the Zapple sauce because that stuff is a looser consistency. And the pouch is designed to where you just pull off a little tip and you suck it out of there like a drink. Got the beverage bag, which I won't use. jalapeno seasoned cashews or jalapeno flavor. That is a new one. Peanut butter. That's for the crackers, I'm assuming. Got the spoon. Again, I don't use that because I use my foreign MRE Sport. A chocolate full-length, full-size first strike bar. Accessory pack. Get into that in a bit. Oh, this is a Bridgeford. So not only do I have a sterling pizza slice, this is a Bridgeford. And look how much thicker this is. I don't know if they put extra cheese on there or the bread is thicker or what, but there have been videos done comparing the pepperoni pizza slice from Bridgeford and Sterling, but now there can be one comparing the Bridgeford and Sterling cheese pizzas. Of course, I'll have a little fun with that. Oh, what the heck is this? 2 apple sauces. So this is definitely an error bag. So that's a 2038 date code. So 2022. Same pack date on this, I believe. Then again, there are a bunch of different codes on there. I'll just look at the crackers. Yep. 2022. So this is a 2022 pack. So there are 2 apple sauces in here. That is an error. Now let's look at the accessory pack to see if this is the same thing like CT ran into. And I will be using the MRE bag as a trash bag. Splenda. Well, no, actually, this is Enjoy. That is a company that provides items to the food service industry. And you can also buy their stuff at Sam's Club and Costco. Moist Towelette. Crushed red pepper. That's fitting for a pizza. He did not have a coffee in his accessory pack. This one does. So this one is correct as far as the coffee, the creamer. A different packet for the salt and a sugar, an Enjoy sugar. This is not the standard 10 packet of the salt. This is more of like a commercial food service type packet. This is cinnamon gum and the rear roll. No cold drink of any kind in this MRE, but I got something for that. But anyway, I am going to take these pizzas into the kitchen. Now I'm going to take you with me. So pardon a little bit of jostling while I get you out of the phone mount. I have the phone plugged into a power bank, which is in my pocket. This might get a little too hot, but actually I'm going to do this over here. So I am going to open these up. Oop, sorry about that. Let's see. There we go. And this is the sterling. There's an oxygen absorber inside the packet. So I'm just going to stick that in my pocket because I want to hold on to these packets. So this one is sterling. Now I'm going to open up the Bridgeford. So again, there's a Bridgeford. Okay, the oxygen absorber's underneath it, so we'll get that out of there. So again, the sterling is on the left, that is more square, whereas the Bridgeford is the rectangular shape that we know for the pepperoni pizza. I'm actually going to turn this down just a little bit more because it's starting to get a little too hot. I think it's... Oop, hold on, why kill that? Sorry about that, didn't want to go down at first. Okay, I'll show you what I'm doing. Sorry about the smoke detector going off, but I put a little bit of butter in there. This is just going to take a few, the cheese bits that fell off. The knob came apart on this one and I could not get it back together, but oops, sorry about that. I didn't mean it to, I don't know how it flicked like that, but anyway. Sorry, again, I apologize for that smoke detector going off, but I went and cracked my slider. So anyway, Wyoming Adventures is here, my Kreischer, spicy tuna rolls. James Ortiz is here. I'm just going back through the chat. LC. This is just going to take a few minutes to heat these up. There is Star. Star is all the way from India. Harshman Hills is here. There is Storms Radio and Cats. I'm going to put you back on the phone mount. Now it's time to have a little fun with these pizzas. I have, and here is some dehydrated onion that I rehydrated. So I'm going to take this off. Some of the onion is hitting the pan, so let me kill that again. So I'll turn that off. I took it completely off the burner, but my smoke detector won't shut off. There we go. I threw on some crushed red pepper because I had it handy. I didn't want to go back for the packet. I sprinkled some Parmesan cheese on it. transfer back to I transferred it back to the plate. So now I'm just going to leave that vent fan running. I'll put you back here. So now you can see what the finished pizzas look like. I have to turn that one that way. And the rectangular one is the Bridgeford. And then the square one is the Sterling. Okay, what I did was I put the pan in the sink with the lid on it. That way Pumpkin won't try to go after it. So I'm going to put that there. And this one here, these are the 2 packets. Ration MRE fines. Again, I apologize for those who will be watching this in the replay. My smoke detector did go off. So I apologize in advance for those that will have to hear that in the replay. I don't know, maybe because the pouch has the nutrition info for the pizza slice, they probably decided not to put it on here. But they included the sleeve in case you wanted to use a FRH. Of course, being that I'm at home, I don't. But this is an oddity, I think. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the first strike bar. Again, this is the full-size chocolate flavor first strike bar. Well, that didn't rip very good, but I'll fix that. I'm going to go ahead and put this one right here. I'm using the MRE bag as a trash bag. Jalapeno cashews. Oh, Rebel Canners is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Oh, I got a hiss out of the cashews. I'm going to go ahead and put these down here. And this is a new snack item. I can definitely smell the spice from the jalapeno seasoning. And the cashew is my favorite nut anyway. By the way, this right here is part of my foam mount and my attempt at trying to position it in a way that I could get that out of the camera view, but then I couldn't get a good mounting position on the table or off the end of my desk. DeCarlos Perry is here. Thanks for dropping in. You should have your prize from Nation MRE Finds by now. I'm giving the peanut butter a good knead. These crackers may break because it is kind of bent, but we'll see. They're just plain crackers. A little hiss off of that. Now that one did rip all the way across, but it came close to not doing that. I'm just going to empty that out there. And this is a 2022 pack, menu 11. This is a cheese pizza slice. The pepperoni pizza slice has been out for a few years. And there is an error in packing. There's only supposed to be one applesauce. There's two. They're both packed the same date. They're both the same applesauce with maltodextrin. No sense in opening both. Actually, I might move because this space is a little bit bigger. I move the first strike bar over here. And I'm going to cut the pouch this way instead of using a tear notch. Actually, this looks about as loose as the applesauce, maybe a little bit thicker. The maltodextrin just gives you carb energy. I'm not doing the coffee because of my little surprise that I have. But I'm going to go ahead and a couple of cracker pieces fell back there, but I'll deal with that later. I'll just dump that under there. I'll break I'll just put a little peanut butter on a piece of the cracker. I'll just lay that back there. Now I am going to go get my surprise. I have a chilled glass that I've been keeping in the fridge. This one that I found in the laundry room. And what I'm going to put in it is something that I found in the local grocery store. Eggnog with cold brew coffee added. So this is AE or Anderson Erickson Dairy. It is based right here in Des Moines. I gotta pop this little thing out. I can smell. See, I'll come around this way so you can see it since this is a tall glass. I'm going to go put the carton back in the fridge. So it looks kind of like a cold brew coffee. I'll put you back up here. Just scrolling back through the chat to see if I missed anything. Nope. Again, sorry about the shaking. This foam mount is not exactly the steadiest thing. Again, the square one is the Sterling Foods pizza. The rectangular one is the Bridgeford. So I thought it was so awesome, I got both. This one was loose in one of the boxes I recently got. And then this one came out of the MRE bag. And this is packed by warning, so I guess there was no date code. I forgot about that. But anyway, I'm going to take a bite of the sterling one first. The crust on the bottom did get a little blackened, but it made it crispy. And this is the Bridgeford. See, the cheese, they look a little bit different. I think adding the softened onion and the Parmesan and the red pepper flake, that definitely adds some to this pizza. But the fact that they included the red pepper in here was a very nice touch. I'm glad this was not left out. But why there is no cold drink option in here, I don't know if the whole run was like this. There was sugar and the Enjoy version of Splenda, also known as sucralose. Why that had both of them in there, at least this one had a coffee, where CT's accessory packet did not have a coffee. It had an extra sugar, I believe. I could be wrong on that, but so anyway, I am going to, oops, I should probably raise this up a bit. In fact, I'm going to do that so it's a little bit higher up. There we go. Because I got such a tall glass. Gonna take a taste of this coffee eggnog. Here is to a much better 2023 than 2022. There will be challenges, but if we are prepared, we can face them. So anyway, bottoms up. Now that definitely adds a bit of complexity to the flavor. I can pick up the coffee. It is quite sweet, like an eggnog usually is. I can still pick up the spices that are put into the eggnog. So the coffee does not overpower it. So it is still present. So I like it. I was looking for just straight up eggnog, and I had a hard time finding it in the few stores that I had been in lately, but the Hy-Vee had this coffee eggnog. I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I almost thought about pulling it out last night and going live with it, but then I just didn't. But then I thought, you know what? Since I'm doing this pizza, this double pizza, I'll pull it out during that. And it's a good thing I have a cold drink because there's none in here. Peanut butter's the same. The sauce is completely soaked into the bread, as you can tell. There's a bit of the Parmesan that fell off. And it's the same with the Bridgeford. There's a very slight difference in flavor between the two. Of course, I added stuff to them. Nope. If you get this MRE and you have the means to personalize it, add a few bits from your own stash, you could definitely improve the flavor. If I had some turkey pepperoni, I probably could have put a couple of pieces of that on each slice. Yeah, that's what everybody was saying when these pizzas first came out. Let's see, Gun Dog had a video on him. G Schultz had a video on him. I think G Schultz had 4 pizza slices and he heated them up 4 different ways. And then RC Gusto, he had, I think, a Bridgeford, and then there was a pizza from a foreign ration that he had, which was a vegetarian pizza with a cheese substitute. These are both real cheese. And he compared that one to the pepperoni pizza. But there are others who did a comparison between the Sterling and the Bridgeford pepperoni pizzas. So I don't know if there has yet been one done on the difference between the 2 cheese pizzas, since that is new to the MRE market, or the MRE lineup. So when I saw that I got both brands, I thought, wow, that is awesome. I can do a comparison. But as I doctored them up, I do like them when they're toasted on the bottom. Had I put them in a pot to boil or use the FRH, I think the bottoms would have been soggy. Gardener Josh is here. Thanks for dropping in. This is a little New Year's celebration with a 2022 So very fresh ration cheese pizza slice packed by Warnick. But this bag had a couple of errors. One being the nutrition for the applesauce is on this kind of grayish white card, and instead of one that is like this, the same color cardstock as this sleeve. No nutritional information here because the pouches have that on them. So this is a Bridgeford that was inside the MRE bag. And this is the Sterling, which I got as a separate item in another box. And no cold drink. The accessory packet had sugar and a Splenda knockoff. But unlike CT's, this one has coffee. But no cold drink. His didn't have a cold drink either. But I solved that problem with the coffee eggnog. It's the only eggnog that I could find, and so I decided to go for it. These are jalapeno seasoned cashews. I got 2 applesauce pouches. They're both the same, so no sense in opening both. I'm going to go ahead and give these a try. I pick up a bit of lime, along with the salt and jalapeno. That has a definite kick to it. And I had a bite of the Bridgeford pizza. After that, so this is definitely a nice addition. If you can't handle the spice, you may not want to eat these, or you trade them off with someone else. Wow, that's interesting. It must have really toned down the potency of the ghost pepper, or used one that is not quite as hot as some other ghost peppers. Probably the closest to that I've had would be a Hungarian wax pepper that I had quite a few years ago. And that thing kicked out some heat, but it had a really nice flavor. The bread itself is still like a thicker version of a wheat snack bread, just formed to be like a thick crust pizza. I think that's what this one was going for. But with the sauce soaking into it, and then the fact that I put it on the stove, and I used a little bit of, well, probably maybe a little too much of my country crock in there. And again, for those who will be watching this in the replay, when I was heating the pizza, my smoke detector kept going off, so I kept trying to shut it off by hitting the test button with the stick that I have. And then I ended up cracking the slider. My vent fan is still running. And I'm just going to keep that on for a while. Here, I'm surprised they didn't put a packet of cheese spread in here. Again, they probably are trying to up the protein value with the peanut butter. That's probably why that was included. Then this is a chocolate First Strike bar. That's what it looks like on the inside. But my question for the ration packers is, especially Warnick, who did this run, why no cold drink? why did this particular bag get two apple sauces? Was that an error on the part of the person who was working the pack line and dropping things in? Did one bag miss getting the applesauce and my bag got two of them? And the salt, it's in that type of packet instead of one that would be closer to this color. And then this sugar and the Enjoy brand version of Splenda. Why both of those? Even this, the crushed red pepper packet, looks like it would be a commercial food service provider's packet, like you'll get in a restaurant or a school or something like that. And just a couple of oddities there. So I'm just shifting my I might put the power bank. Let's see. There we go. I was just shifting the cord. It's just straight up. It's like Zapple sauce, but a little bit thicker. Sometimes these pouches have the nutritional info on the pouch itself, like the Zapple sauce would. The fruit flavored applesauces would have that sometimes, but this one did not, so that's probably why they had this card, but on the wrong color cardstock. I am definitely going to enjoy drinking the rest of this eggnog with the coffee in it. And I thought it would be fun to use this glass, since it looks like a beer glass that you would get at a bar to get a draft beer in, as opposed to just getting your beer in a can or a bottle. So I thought it would be fun to use that. Plus, it's not as heavy as my Minotaur mug. That glass, I call it, uh, it's like the old A&W mugs that you would do root beer floats in, and you could buy those. Those are heavy. I just thought it'd be fun to use this one. Yeah, I like eating a few of these cashews and then taking a bite of the pizza. It transfers a little bit of the spice. Yeah, it is. And in fact, it is free. Someone left it in the laundry room along with some jars, some glass jars. Some were actual canning jars, some were not. And the ones that were not canning jars did not have lids, but that's okay. I took them anyway. They're like 4 canning jars and then 3 other jars. And even though those other jars don't have lids, they're still useful. You could if you were trying to root a plant or something, you could do it in those. You could make an oil candle in it. You could just use it to drink out of. Some people like to drink out of canning jars. Or you could just use it to mix something in. Some might sprout seeds in it, like they're doing sprouts, and they would put some kind of mesh over it, like a piece of cheesecloth, and then a rubber band around it to keep that in place. Or just whatever you want to use those jars for. So that's why I decided to go ahead and take those jars, and that glass was in with them. So I washed it up along with those jars. So the canning jars that did not have lids or rings got matched up with them from what I had. So I fill them with dry food since I don't do wet canning. For one thing, I don't have a canner. The big burner on my stove doesn't work. Plus, the hood that is above my stove is probably a bit low. I mean, it would be if I had one of those much taller canners, like some of the taller pressure canners and the water bath canners. That would be a bit awkward trying to get the lid on and off, especially those pressure canners that have a pretty good sized regulator at the top that has your pressure gauge on it. Plus, I don't have proper shelf space for a whole lot of jars, so when I fill them, I put them inside cardboard boxes. And I recently filled up a couple more jars with that bag of rotini pasta that I picked up earlier this month. Well, now is the time to get the jars because I watched a video earlier today from a channel I'm not subscribed to, but she showed a lot of stuff that she has been picking up lately, and from a couple of different places she scored some good deals on different size canning jars, including some unusual sizes like 3/4 pint and 1.5 pint. She found jars of that size, as well as the half pint jelly jars. I have found a few in thrift stores, so when I find them there, I do get them. I have not been in a thrift store for probably at least 7 or 8 months. The last time I went was in the summer. I've just been choosing to spend my money on paying my bills and getting other preps, but occasionally I do like to duck into a thrift store. Sometimes you can find the jars with the lids or rings or both. Sometimes not, but you definitely want to have a good supply of the lids, more so than the rings. Tammy of Rebel Canners can tell you all about that. I do have a set of the canning utensils like the jar lifter, tongs, a funnel, and it included a timer. Good thing the battery was not in the timer because the battery was corroded in its wrapper. So I put a fresh battery in there, tested it, make sure the timer worked, and then took that battery back out. But I do have that set. Yeah, Rebel Canners. Another good channel for canning videos is Sutton's Daze. Suttonsdaze. And then there's another one called Mouse Toes. She does canning too, among all the other things that she has on her channel, but definitely Rebel Canners, because, that is a focus of her channel, is canning. And a few months ago, she was a guest presenter at a kitchen or some kind of like a self-reliance show, and Courtney from Wide Family Farm went up there and actually helped Tammy out a little bit. But yeah, she did some canning demos up there. There's another person who's doing some canning, so the people that attended that show got to see a few different things being canned right there. And then both Courtney and Tammy showed some of the clips on their channels. Yep. So if you're on Facebook, you can look for that group and join it. I'm in that group. I don't post in there because I obviously am not a wet canner. Putting dry food in there is sometimes referred to as dry canning. I just call it dry storage. I do put oxygen absorbers in there. I do got the jar sealers that I can attach to my food saver. So that is an alternative to putting stuff in Mylar bags. And I just stick those jars wherever I can find a safe spot where I know they won't get knocked over. Yep, there you go. She told you what that was. But there is a company that was featured there. They do lids, and apparently they're going to get into making their own jars too. It's called 4 Jars, the number 4 and then jars. And Courtney showed their factory where they make the lids and the rings, so she got to tour that. That was pretty cool, seeing how all those are made. Now, if you can your own food, that's definitely a way to preserve it for long term, especially if you get fresh meat. Now, people have canned fish. They can their own fish. Alaska Granny has canned some salmon that she has caught herself. Oh, sorry, I guess I had it spelled wrong, but anyway. Yeah, but people are really going after the 4 Jars lids because some of the lids that you can get from various companies are really not that great. Homestead Tessie tested a bunch of lids that she got off of Amazon, and some of them did not even fit the jars correctly. They did not sit correctly on the jars, and a lot of them just did not seal, so she had to redo those jars with either her ball or cur lids that she had. Nope. I don't mind. But I don't think you got this in your screenshot. And this is eggnog with cold brew coffee in it. And I like it. And the brand of the eggnog is AE or Anderson Erickson. They're based right here in Des Moines. If I take a couple of different bus routes, I can go right by their facility. And I have been over there and I've seen their trucks going in and out of the facility. They have buildings on both sides of the street, and then they have a skywalk that connects the two buildings so people can walk over the street without having to wait for a break in traffic. You know, when they have to go from one side to the other as part of their job. So I've been consuming their products for quite some time, since, you know, pretty much all the time that I've lived in Iowa. My high school got their little milk cartons. That we would get on our lunch trays. So I've known about their the milk, and then they've expanded into the orange juice, and they do a lemonade. The garden vegetable cottage cheese is something that is put out in the spring, and then last summer they put out a cottage cheese that has black pepper added to it, sea salt and black pepper, and that was really good too. Thanks for that super chat. It's very kind of you to do that. I greatly appreciate it. Thanking me for a little bit of info I drop now and then. So those super chats get added to my regular YouTube revenue. And then I either put that money towards buying something that I can use on the channel or for the channel, or if I may use it to pay my internet bill, or my home internet bill, or maybe my cell bill or something like that. It gets used for the channel. And speaking of that, my payments, I had to update my account info because I got an email saying that the YouTube payments were being reformatted, or it would show up from a different outgoing account. So I had to update that. So I did that, and it's like I was setting up a new account, or I had to look for the test deposit and then report back what that was. So I did that, and then a few days later, I got the payment that I was owed. So I didn't have to worry about not knowing whether it was sitting or if I was going to get it or what. But I got that straightened out. But starting in February, any monetized channel who puts up their shorts and monetizes them will actually start to earn the revenue off of them. Right now, they're monetized, but in February, we will actually start earning off of those shorts. I guess it'll be listed as a separate revenue stream. I'm not sure how all that works, but that's the updates that I've been seeing. So I guess it's their way of encouraging creators to put up more shorts. I guess it's to compete with the Reels on Facebook and Instagram, the Snapchat short clips, the TikTok short clips. Although Snapchat is mostly pictures. But any of those, or short clips that people could put on Twitter. I guess people's attention spans are just not as long as they used to be. But I did hear of another channel talking about using shorts as a teaser for an upcoming longer video. Some have used shorts to do a condensed version of a longer video that was already uploaded. But using a short as a teaser, kind of like a movie trailer or a promo for an upcoming TV show. I guess if you make a short of a video that you will upload later or release later, I guess that's what they're going for. Yep. Actually, if you are using the YouTube app and you hit that button like you're going to go live or upload a video, it now has an option to create a short. And you actually record right there in the app instead of uploading it, although you can do it that way. And it may not get the little red S if you upload a video that's less than a minute long and then put the hashtag shorts. It may not be recognized by YouTube as a short, and which would get that little red S. But that's another way of doing it, or just do it straight from the app. And you now have the option where it says create a short. And the last few shorts, most of the shorts I've done, or maybe about half of them I've done that way. The rest were just short clips that I would record and then upload them. So I've done it both ways, and then I would just put the hashtag shorts in the title or as a tag, like any other video tag. But then I created a playlist to put all of my, well, almost all of my videos that are less than a minute long. I have a couple that are part of some camp videos that I have not done that to. Those I did not add that because they would be out of context and it might be a bit confusing as to what's going on. So that's why I did not move one of my short clips to my shorts playlist, but I'm just kind of playing with the shorts, like putting up little clips of pumpkin and some of the weather stuff, and a couple of my my little baby squash. So I'm just kind of playing with it, even though I'm monetizing every one. But that's it's just another way to add some content. Now, Gil over Camp Patton Family Compound and Gray Man Prepping, spelled with the A, he's done some pretty cool shorts, especially his last couple of weather shorts. Yeah, I'm sure they can be. I watch on my Kindle because I can position it where it's best for me to view, where I'm not having to put my head down to look at a laptop screen. And I can have my wireless keyboard in a place where it's easy for me to use it. So it's fine on that, or on your phone. On my Kindle, I do use the desktop version of the site. That way I can do all of the stuff in my studio that I can't do on a mobile site. But watching shorts on the Kindle is no problem for me. I don't use the laptop because it's very hard for me to get, I can't separate the screen from the keyboard, so I can't put one where I like it and the other where I like it. But I will use it for handling my larger videos if I take a bunch of clips and I want to put them together, and it'll be bigger than what a phone can handle, then I'll do it on the laptop. I prefer desktop, but right now they're just basically oversized power banks because they don't do anything else but. John's MRE is here. Thanks for dropping in. This is 2022 pack. Cheese pizza, packed by Warnick. And Warnick doesn't put date codes on their stuff, but on the individual items. Now this is the Bridgeford cheese pizza. That's what this one was. But I had this Sterling cheese pizza, which is this one. I got that separate, and I decided that I'm going to have both of them together. Of course, I didn't know what I was going to get when I pulled the MRE out of the box and I went to open it. I had no idea if it was going to be another Sterling or if it was going to be a Bridgeford. But because I got one of each, I thought this would be really cool because now there will be a comparison between the two. But I did doctor both of them up. I added some rehydrated onion. I added some red pepper flake. I did that in my kitchen instead of coming back in here to get this packet. I didn't know if there would be, so I got mine out of my spice cabinet, and then I just ended up using it. And then I threw some Parmesan cheese on there. And I put them in a skillet on my stove. But my smoke detector kept going off. I kept going back and forth trying to shut that thing off, and I ended up cracking my slider. It's still open. And my vent fan in the kitchen is still running. But yeah, for those that are watching this video from the beginning, where I'm actually heating the pizza slices, my smoke detector just kept going off, so I do apologize for anyone who will have temporary hearing loss as a result of that dang thing. Well, as you can see, I have already eaten part of this. These are jalapeno cashews. This is a chocolate first strike bar, which I haven't taken a bite of yet, but your standard crackers with peanut butter. But this MRE did not have a cold drink option. The accessory pack, unlike CT's, had the coffee, but you get sugar and a sweetener. Both of them. His accessory packet had 2 sugars instead of the coffee. But this one had 2 applesauces. Both the same applesauce. Somehow this one got 2 of them. And the nutritional info is on this light cardstock instead of the one that's this color. Usually these have the nutritional info and the ingredients for the main, but because the pizza pouch already has it on there, yes, they saw no need to put it on here. But it has all this other usual stuff that these sleeves have. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the applesauce info was on a light card instead of a tan one. I don't know if they ran out of the tan cardstock, if it was an error, or if that was intentional, or what. And the 2 applesauces, either somehow the second pouch got slid in by accident, either because a machine would drop it in or a person dropped it in, or two bags were lined up on the line to get the applesauce. Instead of each bag getting the one applesauce, my bag got two and another one got none. So because both applesauce pouches have the exact same date code. So this one I'll sit on. Now this is the maltodextrin enhanced, just like the applesauce, but it's not as loose as the applesauce. It's a regular consistency. It just has a maltodextrin in it. I guess that the applesauce pouch always says to enhance performance. Now, basically, that's just an extra source of energy. So that's what this applesauce is. Sometimes applesauce pouches that are like this will have the nutritional info on the pouch, like the applesauce ones does. But this one, nothing on there, and it's just naming the item and the associated codes. But this one, again, like CT's, because he did a cheese pizza MRE, probably, I think 3 months ago he got a hold of one. No cold drink at all. Mine had no cold drink, and his had no coffee. At least mine had the Bill's Brew. But the salt is in the same type of packaging as the crushed red pepper. Not the one that is closer to this color. Or, it's closer to this color. So something was different with that. Yeah, assembly lines and the people who work them can mess stuff up. But I had the cold drink problem solved. This is Anderson Erickson eggnog with cold brew coffee. It looks like cold brew coffee instead of eggnog, and I put it in this glass, which is kind of like a beer glass. So I thought that would be fun. And I figured if my accessory packet didn't have the coffee, I had that covered with the eggnog. But now I have all these things over there that I will put away to save for later. Yeah, I tried looking for eggnog in a few different stores, but I could not find it. But when I saw the Hy-Vee that I was in, happened to be the one that's by my mosque, I was in there. After I left the mosque after the Friday prayer, I wanted to go into Hy-Vee and pick up a couple of things. I was going to look for eggnog. The only eggnog was this one with the coffee in it, so I grabbed it. And a couple of the employees noticed that there was something different. So yeah, I'm going to go try it. And I like it. The eggnog does not overpower the coffee, and the coffee does not overpower the eggnog. Yeah, I almost thought about busting it out last night and going live with it, but I was in a midnight live stream that was done by a knife channel. He calls it Saturday Knife Live. So I stayed in that chat till about 1 in the morning my time. Screw this, I'm going to go to bed. So he was doing giveaways. I didn't win, but I didn't care. I just wanted to hang out. Smokey did not go live last night, so he's obviously dealing with some life issues at home. It was just a few months ago that he lost his old dog. Yeah, I just did not want to stay up that late. And by the time I actually popped my dupe into bed, it was probably like 20 minutes to 2 a.m. Yeah, the little one that was having issues that he was only feeding chicken, Sebastian, that is a dog that died. I mean, he suspected it would be coming, but it just happened a little sooner than he anticipated. And he still has one of the kittens left from that last litter that he had been raising. But he's had some other stuff happen that he hasn't dropped much hints about. I think a couple weeks ago he put up a community post saying that he was dealing with some stuff that he would elaborate on at a future time. So, yeah, he still has one of those kittens. The others died at different times, some more quickly than others, but the strongest of the litter has made it, and it looks like this one will grow up to be a full-size cat. He still wants to find a permanent home for her. But if he doesn't, I guess he's gonna be keeping that cat. He doesn't want to take any cats to his shelter because he doesn't want them to get euthanized when they really don't need to be. Yeah, they are. I mean, when I lost Mila last May, I'm glad it happened after Ramadan instead of during, because I would not have had the time to figure that out and get her someplace where she could be sent across the Rainbow Bridge in comfort, where she was put to sleep, and that way she would not have to suffer anymore, because she had stopped eating and drinking and going to the litter box. And she had stopped harassing Pumpkin, because when Pumpkin first arrived, Mila was harassing her. But she had stopped harassing Pumpkin, so I knew something was up. She just she would not get in the bed with me because Mila had to sleep in the bed with me. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that, Mike. I don't know what I mean, I only got 2 pizzas here. I don't have 4 different ones. But I took her to the Animal Rescue League, and they did the deed for me. Yeah, John, if you have the same one, don't be surprised if your bag is in error too. If it was packed about the same time this was, you might get a couple of duplicate items. You could get something that's missing. You could get who knows what. The applesauce with the maltodextrin, you can sort of taste that. It's not a bad taste. It's just, it just has a little, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but you can definitely tell there's something additional there. These jalapeno cashews, they have a bit of a lime hint to them, which I like. I like, eat that and then you take a bite of the pizza. Yeah, thanks for dropping in, John. Yeah, glad you make it, even if it's for a little while. But yeah, both of these have a very similar taste. The sauce, I think, is the only slight difference, or maybe it's like a one ingredient difference or a proportion difference. But the bread is basically a thickened version of the wheat snack bread, but the sauce is completely soaked into it. So it's turned it orange. So it does kind of resemble the school pizza. There's the Bridgeford was the rectangular, and then the Sterling, it was a square. But these actually look thicker than the pepperoni pizzas because some I've had that I passed on to others. They felt a little, the pouches were a bit thinner. So I don't know if they used an extra thick bread to compensate for the lack of the pepperoni or what. I'm kind of slightly favoring the Bridgeford, or no, the Sterling over the Bridgeford. And I think this one has a bit less sauce. There's not as much of it on the Bridgeford as the Sterling. You can see there is a lot more. And this one looks closer to the school pizza than this one. I mean, you can see it, but there just is not as much of it. So it does not quite have the same amount of the flavor from the sauce. I think that's the only difference visually. But I would definitely eat both again. And now that I have my Instapot, if I get these again, or even a small personal pizza, I might actually try using the Instapot to heat that up, because that has several different modes on it that you can use. Only one it does not have is the ability to pressure can, like the Instapot Max can. Yeah, the Instapot Max, you can actually pressure can in, but you can't do anything bigger than a pint. So the woman behind the channel, Disabled and Prepping, that is how she cans, is by using her Instapot Max. So she can put 3 pint jars in there. That's the most she can do at a time, but it will do it. So that would be one way to do some small scale canning. Yeah, I had the Instapot Duo, and that was given to me. My younger nephew originally had it, but no, my older nephew. He originally had it, but then he changed to a different one that he liked better. So then, I mean, it's been sitting at my sister's house, the 2 sisters who share a house. It was sitting there for over a year. And then Thanksgiving, after we visited my mom at the rehab center, she did go home this past Friday, so I found that out after I got home from the mosque Friday, that my mom actually stayed in the rehab center until that day, so she is home. Originally, she was supposed to go home this past Tuesday, but that didn't happen. But she did go home Friday, so now she will get some assistance like she did after her last stint in the rehab center. But dealing with that drain that she had put in as a result of her intestinal issue. So now my mom got her gifts from all of us. And if you remember the 2 bottles of the mint flavored Walgreens version of Tums, I buy those for my mom because there are very few stores that carry that. I know Walgreens and I think Walmart sometimes sells it, but no other stores. So when I'm in Walgreens and I'm picking up some stuff for me, but every other month I will get a couple of bottles and I will hold them for her because that is the only antacid that she can tolerate. Any other flavors of the Tums or the store brand, she can't handle those. But the mint ones she can, so I help keep her supplied with those. That way she'll be less likely to run out should there be a supply chain issue. And she would not be able to get that. I'm sure my sisters will look out for that too, but when I get them, it's usually when Walgreens has it on sale. Sorry about that brief disconnect. So Walgreens will sometimes have it either as a buy one, get one free or buy one, get one half off. So that's usually when I will get those for her. And then I just hold them until the next time I have a chance to give them to her. And so that's what I do. Just gonna eat this piece of cracker with peanut butter on it. I have the rest of that eggnog in the fridge, so when I finish this, I'll probably just finish that off tonight. Yeah, a lot of people have been, this is a busy time for some people. Depending on whether they have the type of job where they have to work during this time. If you're a student, then, or you're a teacher, then you have this time off. So my oldest sister, who works at one of the local middle schools, we used to call them junior high, basically the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade levels are in that school. So she has been at that same school since she started there in August of 1984. So she's never been to another school to work, only at this one school. And for those who work in retail, people are usually returning items that they were given as a gift or that they bought that was either, there's something wrong with it, or dealing with online returns or issues like my one of my Amazon orders. It was delivered Friday and left on the step while I was at the mosque, but when I got home, the box is not there. Someone stole it, and I have a specific instruction for my Amazon deliveries that the driver is supposed to contact me upon arrival. But he or she just left it and took off. And I checked all 4 doors because my building has 4 entry doors. It was gone, so I had to contact Amazon to say that my package was stolen and I told them what was supposed to be in it. And I had to go through 3 different people because they wanted to offer me a refund. And I said, no, I want those items. I'm not buying something just to get a refund and get my money back and no item. I want the items. And so, while I was talking to the third person, I told him about the other order that came with, I ordered a 6-pack of the chicken Vienna sausages. One of the cans was dented, not unusable, not compromised where I would not feel safe eating it. It's just one that will be eaten first before any of the other cans that I have. So I just told him about that, and he said, oh, we'll throw another can in. So I ordered a hose for my little red and black buddy down in my right, so I can use it with a larger tank. And I did get the fuel filter. That was in a separate package. That was in my snail mail. So I got that. But it's the hose that was in the same box with my 2 Augustin Farms cans. That box got stolen. So that is the replacement is supposed to be coming Tuesday. Now, tomorrow being the legal holiday, because obviously New Year's Day is on a weekend. So tomorrow, just like Christmas Day was on Sunday, so the 26th, there was no mail service. Banks are closed. So tomorrow will be the same. Or I don't think there's going to be any mail service. There is no city bus service today, but tomorrow there will be. But it'll be like running on a Saturday or Sunday schedule. But I don't plan on going anywhere anyway. I am going to do some laundry probably and just chill with the cat. I think it would have been cool if, I said this earlier, I think it would have been cool if Warnick would have put a cheese spread in with this MRE instead of the peanut butter. Yeah, I have had items delivered to my building that were not even for this address. If it was for the other building in the complex, I have taken it over there. And then there's an apartment building that is next to this one, but not part of this complex. I had a package delivered to my mailbox that was for that building. And then that person got my package. So the mail carrier switched them. So I took the package that was supposed to go to that other building, I took it over there. And then I contacted the Postal Service and said, yeah, there's supposed to be a package delivered, but I didn't get it. And then they discovered, after doing some investigation, that my package was delivered to the other building. So I got mine back. I got it recovered. And then that person got what was incorrectly delivered to me. So that one worked out good. Another time, I had a box that was delivered to my address, but the wrong name. And I happened to be home, so while they delivered tires, that's crazy. I hope it wasn't a full set of 4. In that case, what I did was I opened the box. I looked for either packing slip or an invoice that I could get a phone number off of. And fortunately he had one, so I contacted the company and said, I got a package that belongs to one of your customers, but that person is not here. And I told him how long I've been here. And I said, this is stuff I do not use. And I'm pretty sure this person wants their stuff. They just never bothered to give you their updated address. So they sent me a return label. So before I retaped the box, I wrote a note and stuck it in there saying that I got your package by mistake and that I initiated the return. And apologizing for it coming late. But so then a UPS driver came at a later date, picked it up. And I'm hoping that it eventually found its way to that customer who ordered those products. Of course, I have no way of knowing that because I never bothered contacting that company again. I'm pretty sure she was glad to get it. At least, she knows you can be trusted to get her stuff to her. I have gotten mail for other people in this building and in the companion building. And I occasionally still get mail for people who have not been here in years because they just don't bother to forward their address, forward their mail. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to do a change of address. Sometimes I call the company and say, I got this person's mail. This person has not been here for who knows how long. I've gotten bills that are obviously not my responsibility. So that's another one of those times where I call the company and say, I got someone else's mail. That person hasn't been here a long time. They just never forwarded their mail or did a change of address, whether it's by accident or on purpose. Maybe some people do that because they don't want to pay a bill anymore. They think it's an easy way to get out of it. A couple of years ago when I bought, it would be 3 years ago now, I bought a gooey butter cake from AnnandEllen.com, Marilyn Scholl's site, and it was delivered by FedEx, but it was taken into a vacant apartment that was being remodeled. That wasn't even on my floor. Yeah, how a FedEx driver got into that apartment without having keys, who knows, because we had locks on the doors. Someone must have let the FedEx driver in, but because I wasn't there, I don't know if it was just handed to someone who just chucked it in that empty apartment, hoping to maybe retrieve it later and have my cake, which I bought for my own birthday. So I'd ordered it, hoping it would be delivered either right at the end of December or very early January. But it was a maintenance guy who found it, because he had got into this apartment to either do some work, put something in there, or get something out. And he saw that box with my address and brought it to me. So I got my birthday cake on time. That was espresso chip gooey butter cake. And that stuff is good. I like that one. Now that it's a new month, as new year, I can go ahead and take advantage of my health insurance quarterly spending allowance. A couple years ago, they bumped it up from $60 every 3 months to $80, and then last year they put it back down to $60 every 3 months. This year it's $60 every 3 months. Of course, with prices as high as they are, that $60 will not get me as much as it did last year, unless I pick up the cheapest qualifying items as I can, but it's still $60 that I can use to add to my medical supplies, whether it be first items, over-the-counter meds, or vitamins or other supplements. But last year, we could go to a store and use our insurance card as if it was a debit card or a gift card. instead of having to use a separate card or order through Walmart, and they use FedEx or occasionally a Walmart driver. But when one time I had one of my orders delivered, it was just brought in Walmart bags, and it was raining. And it was just set out there in the rain. Nothing got too damaged where I couldn't keep the items. I got rid of the outer boxes, but I was not happy about that. There is Shadow Scout Sweet in the house. Cheese pizza slice packed in 2022. This Bridgeford one, which is this one here, came in the MRE bag. But because I happen to have a sterling one that I got in another box, I decided I'm going to have both of them. I mean, heck, this is New Year's Day. I want to do a little celebrating. But this ration had some errors. 2 of these applesauce pouches, not just one, 2 of them, so this one will get saved for another time. No cold drink, but I had that covered. The accessory bag had sugar and sweetener. This is like Splenda, but this is a commercial food service supply company called Enjoy. I can go into Sam's Club and buy their products. They're sugar and creamer cans, either in, like a 6-pack of each, or boxes of these packets. Now, CT had this one a few months ago. He did not get this coffee, or any coffee for that matter. He got 2 sugar packets. But no cold drink option, but I have that problem solved. This is eggnog with cold brew coffee mixed in. And I like it. I bought this at a local store here called Hy-Vee. I was looking for eggnog because I was wanting to have some. And out of the few stores that I looked in, I didn't see it, but Friday after I left the mosque, I went into the Hy-Vee that's around the corner. I saw a few cartons in there, so I grabbed one. I thought, ooh, this is interesting. I'm definitely going to try this. And I'm glad I did. These are jalapeno flavor cashews, and these have a hint of lime in the seasoning. This is a chocolate First Strike bar. It's got little bits of like Rice Krispie bits in there. So it's kind of hard. In warmer weather, these would be a lot softer, but it is somewhat warm, so it is a little flexible. It's kind of like another one we call a power bar. And Canada has a version called the Soldier Bar, which is somewhat like this. So this comes in 4 flavors. This is chocolate. There's the mocha, which has caffeine in it because it has coffee in it. There's the apple cinnamon, which has a bit of an oat texture in it. So it's closer to a cereal bar. And then there is the cran raspberry, which is like this, but it has cranberry and raspberry juice concentrates added in, so you get that fruit flavor. These would not be good in high heat, but at other times, as long as it's not frozen, these are not too bad to eat, and I really like them. Yeah, the mocha was my favorite, but then the first time I had the cran raspberry, I thought, wow, Smoky is right on this one. That one does get top billing now. There's, I have that other recovery bar that was loose in one of the boxes that I got recently. I will bring that out at another time. I had never seen that particular bar before. So I'm very interested in trying that, but I want to do that one on camera. And this peanut butter with the crackers. And this is the nutritional info card for the applesauce. Wrong color. It does not look like this. Normally these are the same color cardstock as this. And this is even a little thinner. So the cardstock for this type of card is almost as thick as what's used for these sleeves, but this is thinner. And next time, if I get another cheese pizza slice again, as I said earlier, I am going to try using my Instapot to heat it instead of doing it on my stove top, because in there I would have the lid on. And it might not be done on camera. Or what I might do is I might get one of those little personal pizzas that are about the size of a standard pot pie. Just to try that, see how it would work, because I need to start messing with that thing. I need to figure out what I can do with it, how I can make it work for me, because, you know, when it was first offered to me, I said, yeah, I'll take it. I just didn't specify a time, and I really didn't care. But now that I had that Instapot Duo, I want to start messing with it. For most things you would. It just depends on what mode you're using. You can slow cook in it, like your standard slow cooker. You can pressure cook in it. Yeah, I don't know about them either, so now that I have one, I can start messing with it. But because it is a pretty good size item, I just can't store it on my countertop. So right now I just have it in the box, but I've taken it, all the wrappings. So it has an inner pot that you take out, just like most crock pots do. That you can wash that separately, and that goes on top of the heating element. And then there's this little cup thing that you put some water in. And I'm not sure how that works. I've kind of glanced through the instructions and on the box itself. So I will basically be keeping the box, and because it has a handle built into the lid, it's easy to move around. Of course, what would be handy is if I had some kind of a carry bag for it. That would be an awesome thing to have. Yeah, my closets are, at the bottoms of my closets are full, except for one area where I keep my cable line easily accessible in case I have to have service done through there, but that's where the line runs up into my closet from the floor below and up to the floor above me, because the way they got those cables run into the building. My crock pot is a small one, and I keep that on top of my kitchen cabinets above my stove. I have a few other small appliances that I keep up there. And I have my large mixing bowls up there that I don't use a lot, but I got these sets because the largest ones I have taken to the mosque to use during Ramadan. That way, if we need, the largest size mixing bowls, then they can use mine, although sometimes I've taken some things there, either get stolen or broken. One bowl somehow got a hole punched through it. I don't know how the heck that happened, but it started leaking, and so, down goes bye-bye. So then I eventually found a bowl that's not quite the same style to replace that one. Now, we had a little bit of rain off and on here today. Mainly in the morning. And a little bit in the afternoon, but not a whole lot. Let's see, I am gonna It is still 36 degrees Fahrenheit here. I'll show you on another. So that would be like, I guess you could call it 4 degrees Celsius. Or between 3 and 4. And the sky is clear. So far tonight, I've only heard a couple of firecrackers being popped off at a much farther distance than they were last night. Oh, it was getting nuts last night. I called the local cop shop and said that people are popping off firecrackers either in the park or in the street. Yeah, I think that I'm guessing that might be up in the mountains or maybe in the burn areas from the last fires. I don't know. I haven't checked national weather lately. This is applesauce enhanced with maltodextrin. Basically, it's like the Zapple sauce, but not as loose or thin. This is almost the standard consistency of applesauce. You know, the Zapple sauce pouch, it looks like this, but has this little tip, and you rip the tip off, and you can basically almost drink it out of the pouch. Whereas this is a little too thick for that. And that one is called Zapple sauce. That has the maltodextrin in it. It may be a higher level of it. As I do have one of those Zapple sauce pouches. But this is the standard consistency of it. But I think having the two different brands of the pizza, both the Sterling and the Bridgeford, I think that was pretty cool that it ended up like this. Yeah, because I was wondering, which one am I going to get? Am I going to get another one of these? This is the Sterling, from Sterling Foods, or am I going to get the Bridgeford? So I liked having both of them. Now that is an energy enhancer. The Zapple sauce pouch, when you look at that, it says with maltodextrin for enhanced performance. So that is usually put in something called a first strike ration, which is a 24-hour ration of foods that do not need to be prepared as far as heating wise. You may get coffee, or you'll get a drink powder to mix up, but you don't get a flameless ration heater because none is needed for the type of foods that you're getting. It'll be snacks like this bar. It might be a bread product like this, but something inside of it instead of just on top. Might have the toaster pastries that we call Pop-Tarts. It would have something like that in there. It might have nut snacks or like dried fruit or fruit nut mixes or some other snack mix, kind of like what is in the halal MREs. And you might get either a packet of energy gum, military energy gum, which is caffeinated chewing gum, or you'll get a packet of mints that have caffeine in them. You might get chocolate pudding that has added caffeine in it. You might get a packet of tuna with some tortillas. So, and that's called a first strike ration. And then there are also packages of snacks and drinks and energy gels called a more or modular operational ration enhancement. It basically takes this MRE or a first strike ration and that adds to the calorie count, so you have additional food for those super heavy activity days where you need more than what 3 MREs or first strike ration would give you. You would be issued a set of those or one of those. There's the hot weather more pack, there's the cold weather, and that's dependent on whether that's going to be issued to someone with a meal cold weather or a standard MRE like this, or halal MRE or first strike ration. If you need extra calories, and that's known in advance, and or you could be issued one of those more packs, or you could request one. I don't know how that works. Never been in military, so I don't know how that works. But I have had some of those more packs, both the hot and cold weather versions. And you can buy those. Those would be great for, if you combine that with the first strike ration, you got yourself a good day's worth of, or maybe day and a half of food and drink for like an overnight trip, or something you can just have on the go during a long hike. Yeah, the energy gels can be a bit strange. It's like they have 2 different consistencies within the same product. But if you need a quick energy boost and you don't have too much time to, say, pull open something like this and eat it, you suck down one of those and then you're good to go. But you will find those in the first strike rations or these modular operational ration enhancement packs. Speaking of coffee, took another drink of this coffee enhanced eggnog. I'm definitely glad I found that. It might seem like an odd combination, but There are some coffees that people either will add some spices to, or it's already included in with the coffee, like one that I can get at Hello already has some spices blended in with the ground coffee. I got a few of those. I think I have all of the known flavors. I've never put one outside to see what would happen if it froze. Because right now it's too warm outside to do that since it's above freezing. Yeah, there's a couple of different berry versions. So I would probably not put one of those in my get home bag at this time of year. I just don't know how much it would expand if it froze. Of course, I don't, because I don't drive, I don't have a vehicle to leave it in. Plus, I wouldn't leave it in there anyway, considering all the thievery that can happen around here. It is one of the drawbacks of living in a city, but when you don't drive, you almost have to live in a city. Unless you can afford to hire someone to drive you everywhere you need to go, or live with someone who would be willing to do that. But yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. But I would carry it in the warmer months. Right now, I have a couple of tuna packets, I think a tuna and chicken packets in there. I do change those out every so often. I look at the dates on them. And I do the same thing with the ones that are in my bug out bag. I will look at the dates on those and change those out. But anything like this, you know, I don't I don't get too worried about these as much as I would things like the tuna or chicken pouches. You know, those are inside of a plastic bag inside of my food bag. So they're double layered. And plus, being inside of the backpack, that gives them an additional layer of protection. Few bits of the cashews. I picked up a lot more of the seasoning from those last few bits of the cashews, the jalapeno and the lime. And of course, I ate the last piece of the Sterling pizza. Yep, as I said, a little, just 36 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere between 3 and 4 Celsius. Clear sky, nothing coming down. Not quite enough peanut butter from the way I squeezed it out for the rest of that second cracker, but that's okay. I don't mind. Speaking of crackers, I got 2 packs of the brown wrapper crackers from the brown bag MREs. One of them has salt and it can actually be felt through the outer layer of the wrapper. And the other one is not salted or not as heavily salted, closer to what these are. And of course, I have that corned beef hash MRE. And I found a couple bits of that brown bag that had just broken off. So the bag itself somehow broke on that one corner, but from what I could tell in that area, none of the items inside got damaged. But I may go ahead and cut that one open just to take a closer look at those items. I have actually eaten that particular menu twice before, different years. I think one was in 93. I think the other one was like an 89 or or is in early 80s. I don't remember, but I've had that same menu, but 2 different years. And this one appears to be the early version because it doesn't have the big number, the menu number on the side. But I do want to open that one up just to look at the contents to make sure that nothing in it is damaged. Now, Foreign MRE still had at least one of those left on their site when I last looked a few days ago. So for those who have not had the corned beef hash MRE in the brown bag, you can still get one from Art and Nina. If you haven't had that, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I don't like excessively strong coffee. I usually drink it with creamer and sugar in it anyway. But I have had some coffee that was, it was almost too thick. I was at the college I attended in Arkansas, and we used to make jokes about it all the time, it being so thick you could stand your spoon up in it. A properly made espresso, I wouldn't mind. But what came out of the coffee dispenser at that college, we would sometimes call river mud or river water. Because it was so unlike any other coffee I would drink at the time. And when I went to a wedding this summer, they made the coffee way too strong, so we were watering it down. They had no creamer, so I didn't mind drinking it black, but I had to add some water to it just so it wouldn't taste so excessively strong. They either didn't put enough water in the coffee maker, or they put too much of the ground coffee in there. And then they were starting that coffee maker too late, because by the time it was time to start serving, it's only halfway done percolating in it, and it was one of those big 40 cup things that you would typically see at a catered event, or that someone would get for a party, or that you would find in a cafeteria or restaurant. And then they were wondering why people were upset. So whoever was coordinating the food did not quite do the coffee right. Yeah, it was very, very strong. And even those who like strong coffee had to water it down. Or you're dropping like 3 or 4 packets of sugar in there just to tone it down a bit. The rest of it they had done pretty good, except the way they had some of the tables laid out. It was a bit disjointed. Like they had the condiments over where the desserts were. Yeah, Shadow, that's what they had available at the college I attended. Okay, there's some weird noise going on out there. I still have my slider cracked. It almost sounds like someone is trying to squeal their tires for the length of 3 city blocks. And it sounds like some engines are revving, so I don't know what the heck that is all about. Yeah, it's a bit crazy out there, so. It's a good thing the streets are not too icy yet, but tonight it's supposed to get below freezing, so they better not be doing that. Yeah, the cops are going to be very busy tonight if they're not already. Yeah, but doing it on a street amongst regular traffic, because there are people who have to go home from work, who had to work today or are going to work and they have to work the night shift. There are people who work on holidays. It sounds like people who are just not giving a flip about what's around them or who's around them. Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock here. I'm in Central. Yeah, you're on the left coast, Tuna. That's why it doesn't seem so early there. Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock here, so Wyoming is in the mountain time. So on a normal day, it's probably about time for Shadow to get out of bed. And same with Info's time to get out of bed on a normal morning. Yeah, but remember, Shadow and Infos are ahead of us, so it is January 2nd already there. No, I'm saying on a normal, say on a normal weekday, you're getting up to get ready to get your breakfast and then go to work or whatever you would normally do on a weekday if you keep those kinds of work hours. But he Emphos is one time zone farther east of Shadow. Shadow's in Sweden. Of course, if Yossi were in here, it would be even later in the day, with him being in Israel. And then Pete Review, who is in Australia. It's probably mid-afternoon there. That would be my guess. I don't know exactly where in Australia he's at. Yes. Same with the cyanide cookies. He's in Australia too. And I got that box from him several months ago. Yeah, it would be awesome to go there. I had a chance to go back in 97, but the group that I would have gone with, not enough members of it were able to get time off from work at the same time. And not everybody had passports, so people would have had to get passports. I do not have one, never had one. Closest I got to getting a passport was getting some pictures shot at Walgreens. I never made it past that stage. When I went to Mexico back in '86, I didn't have to have a passport. I just got this piece of paper they called a tourist card. Which is basically a travel document about the size of a standard sheet of paper that said that, you know, I am here, I'm allowed to be here at this time. I'm going to these places. It didn't have everything that my group was doing, but basically it just said that, I'm coming in on this date, I'm leaving on this date. And just a couple other bits, and that was pretty much it. I had that, a birth certificate, and a plane ticket. That's it. And some cash that I converted into pesos once I got into Guadalajara. If I were to go back down there again, I would have to have a passport, just like I would if I were to go to any other country. I would even need one to go into Canada. I don't think I could just walk across the border or hitch a ride across the border. The only way I could go around that would be as if I was at the boundary waters up in northern Minnesota, and the border literally runs through some of the lakes and the rivers that connect those lakes. On one side of one of those lakes, I would be on the U.S. side. I go to the other side of the lake, I'd be on the Canadian side. That'd be the only way to get around crossing the border without seeing any kind of border patrol agent. But yeah, I would like to go to Europe. I want to go to Poland. I want to go to the place, the town or the area where my ancestors departed from back in 1849 when they came across the ocean in one of the boats that was going back and forth. So obviously back then, the only way across the ocean would be to hop a boat and take several weeks to get across. But had I been able to do this trip to Europe back in '97, what we would have done was we would have landed in Munich, Germany. We would have taken some ground, could be a bus or a train, from there to, I believe, Innsbruck, Austria. And then we were going to go to Salzburg. I can't remember if Vienna was on that list or just Innsbruck and Salzburg. And then go back to Innsbruck, and then from Innsbruck go back to Munich to come back to the U.S. That's how we were going to do it. Yeah, that would be Pella. Pella is the large Dutch area in Iowa. And some of the names, place names, are in Dutch, such as the Molengraat, which is the central square. Some of the shops there have Dutch names. And I was only there once for tulip time. And because of the freakish weather that year, not all of the tulips had opened up or even started to form the flower heads. And it was a bit chilly and rainy, and because of the rain, a couple of the events were canceled. The street sweepers thing was canceled. And there was one other event we were going to go to. That was canceled because of the rain. I think it was the Volks Parade. But we hit up some of the local shops. You got Dutch letters. At that time, they did not have the windmill near the Molengraat, but I think about 15 years ago or so, a windmill was dismantled that was somewhere else and then reassembled near the Molengraat. I think the plan all along was to get a windmill put up there, so now there is one. I have not been back to Pella since, so I don't know if it is a fully functioning one with the grinding stones that actually turn or what was the original purpose of that particular windmill that was relocated. If you can hit it in a good year, and the tulips have nearly all come out and opened right before tulip time or just as it's starting, then you would see so much color, so many varieties of tulips, different sizes. Some as big as this is wide. I did see a few that size down there. I mean, they could be as probably about 6 inches tall, some of the really big tulips. I think those are the rarer ones. Yeah, I do highly recommend Tulip Time. I mean, you get to see all colors. You can see multicolored tulips. And that central part of Pella around the Mollengrat is filled with the beds that the tulips are planted in. Yeah, yeah, you got to come back here and do it. I mean, I would love to go back there again. I would love to go there and shoot some video. I think some people over there who are in charge of getting the tulip bulbs probably put in their orders with the Dutch suppliers well in advance just so that they can get them into the country. Yeah, that's a train. I got a set of tracks about 5 blocks from here, 5 or 6. Yeah, my slider is still open. That's why you heard that. Yeah. And not only that, you know, if we could get a Dutch ration and actually do a review right there in Pella, that would be so cool. Now, there's a channel that I haven't seen much of lately, but this family in England moved to Sweden. I think the northern part of the country. And they eventually got Swedish citizenship. So they are permanent residents there. They got themselves a rural property. But I have not seen anything from their channel for a while. But what I did see, and from some other channels that I watch, the places that they go are just absolutely gorgeous. Swede Woods is one channel I'm subscribed to. I watch his stuff. And where he goes, it's just absolutely stunning. The mountains, the lakes, the forest that he travels to camp. It's just absolutely gorgeous over there. Yeah, the channel Swedewoods. It's just as it is, no space. SWEDE Woods. Yeah, he does. He doesn't speak. You know, he always, unless he's with someone else. But usually he's alone. But if you watch his videos, you'll be amazed at the beauty of the places that he goes to. And some other channels from the UK that I've watched, they have taken trips into Sweden and filmed them, and it's been awesome to see. They will, because of their lot closer, they usually drive. You may have to take a ferry to get off of, across channel, since the UK is pretty much an island. You have to cross water to get to the rest of Europe. So either take a ferry across or fly and then rent a vehicle. Or they hook up with someone they know who's there to drive them around. Or as one young woman did, she hiked. She hiked a long trail through Sweden over several days and filmed the parts of her hike where she camped at night, where she used her tent, or she stayed at a hostel or some other little trailside cabin that distance hikers can use. In Scotland, they call these bothies. Yeah, a girl outdoors, she did a long multi-day hike through part of Sweden, and it was definitely an adventure, but she loved it. Yeah, there you go. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I like watching these channels from different countries because right now it's the only way I can see them. I wish I could get out more myself, but because I don't drive, I have to rely on someone else who would have the free time and who's planning to do the same thing I'm doing. You know, today I watched Bushcraft Tools, another guy from England. He went to Austria and he was hiking through the mountains and he found this little shelter that was built under a rock overhang, and it's been there for quite a few years. But he collected a little bit, some sticks, made a fire and brewed himself some pine needle tea. And he had his golden retriever with him, sharing some beef jerky. But then later part of his video, he put his GoPro on either a chest rig that can hold the camera or a head mount. And he filmed himself snowboarding on one of the ski mountains there. So that's another area that was pretty neat to see, was a little hideaway somewhere. I'm guessing it was the Alps. He didn't specifically say, but I'm pretty sure it was the Alps. In fact, before he left there, he cleaned up that little area, stashed a little bit more firewood than what was originally in there for the next person to use. I don't know if they have an internal one, but I know they can accept a gimbal that you would attach to it. But I don't know if there are wearable gimbals. Like if you had one on a head strap or a chest rig. Otherwise, the only ones that I know of are the ones that you actually have to hold, or that you mount on a tripod. Those are the only kind of gimbals that I know of. But a wearable one? Now that would be sweet. But I'll tell you, that would be pretty darn expensive. It would be worth researching, that's for sure. Well, speaking of rations, which one am I going to pull out next week? The other new menu that I got in my last Minotaur order, the one where I got this MRE from, that's the beef strips in a savory sauce. It's not the Asian beef strips, it's not the barbecue, it just says savory sauce. So I ordered that one specifically. And of course, I have another one of my favorite halal MREs, but I may not review that one because I've done I- I've done that one twice. I don't know. I might hold it for one of those days that I'm waiting on a ration order, but it hasn't gotten there yet. I may save it for that. It's one of the older bags that it's in a clear bag that's like was like this with the peelable seal. This one almost wasn't. Not the newer style where it looks like the inner bag from an Ameriqual or Sapaco MRE. It's that vegetable barley stew with lamb. I have that one. And of course, I have a Norwegian Arctic field ration, one that I've had before, but it's probably been a couple of years, maybe 3. So I got that one. I got the cheese tortellini. And I got the now discontinued creamy spinach fettuccine. I like to put chicken with that one. You know, the chicken chunks that will come in a bag without a ration heater. I like to mix that with the spinach fettuccine. That saltiness of the chicken broth actually helps out the flavor of that spinach fettuccine. And the last time I actually had one of those, I did just that. I had a pouch of the chicken and I heated that up along with the spinach fettuccine and then just mixed them together. So that one may be another one that I hold back for a Sunday where I may not have any other rations. But instead of spinach, I might put a different meat with it. I could do it that way to kind of jazz that one up. I'm sure I'll come up with some ideas. And of course, I'll have to, like I said, I'll inspect the contents of that corned beef hash MRE to make sure that none of the innards of it got messed up because of that bag having cracked and literally broken apart. I mean, literally became brittle like this cracker. Just that one corner was like that. You know, it could not have been from where I opened the box because it was farther down in the box from where, from the, because I opened it on the opposite end from where that brown bag was. So I'm guessing it was that brittle to begin with, and then the constant shaking around from being handled by the Postal Service just caused that brittle part to literally break. Just shoving all those things back in here. Well, I think that'll do it for tonight. Knock back the last of this. I got more of this in the fridge. I hope you enjoyed this little pizza adventure, despite the beginning. I did not want to put it in the microwave because that would just make the bottom soggy, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to boil it, and I didn't want to use FRH. I want to try doing it on the stove. I just got interrupted by the dang smoke detector. But I hope it was enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed seeing an unusual drink. I don't know if the local dairies in your areas would produce an eggnog with coffee in it like AE did here. I know I would buy it again. Because I really enjoyed it, and I will enjoy finishing the rest of it off. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good. Going to clean up here, and all these other items that I did not use, I put these away. I got places where I keep all these for emergency use. These beverage bags are good storage bags to keep small items dry in a bag. So that's why I save all of these. So I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. I hope everyone has a better 23 than we had a 22. Hard times are predicted, but if we are prepared in advance, it'll be a lot easier to deal with. That's why I do the prepping stuff that I do, because I don't want to be caught out in the cold, so to speak, not having what I need to make it through a short-term situation or a longer-term one. And what I have might even help someone else. I won't know unless I'm prepared for it. So anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. Again, thanks for that super chat. Wow, my chat just totally went off. And just saw Shadow dropping that super chat. 50 kroner, which is, well, the original super chat was $5. Now it shows $14.95. So again, thanks for that super chat. And stay tuned for next Sunday. I'll go ahead and post up ahead of time what I choose to pull out of my ration box. And whatever else I might come up with in the meantime. So anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the flip side.